shall proceed to unbox this item now. The Boox Note Air 5C. This item I purchased from Amazon, $568.41, shipped, taxed. So top down, foam padding. And here it is. And possibly sleek. I'm gonna save all of this in case it's defective or damaged or who knows what. And let's see what it comes with. Even though, as you saw, it was sealed, so it's brand new, but quick start guide. The warranty card I shall keep in here. It must have been packed by hand, and thus the wrinkle. USB-C. There we go. Is it already charged? Going up to 6-7 watts. It's already 86% charged. Now it's going full out, 11 watts. It'll charge in no time, fully. The volume up, down, the right. Dual speakers, micro SD slot, dual mics in the center, microphones. Comes with a USB-C cable. Okay, here is the presentation. SD card pusher outer. Very beefy USB-C charger. I shall try it out, even though I don't plan on note-taking too much, but perhaps I will. I will not have to do. Okay, so we are rapidly charging, 88%. I graduated college in the year 89, so I shall wait till 89 and then proceed. So this item, of course, the Boox. Let's look at the tip here. Okay, here's the tip. Supposedly, yeah, there's some extra tips right here. There's a flat area right there. And so you can't just shove it in randomly. It's got to be positioned perfectly. There's a magnetic grab to it, but it will fly off. You gotta rotate it a little bit. Just a slight turn. This will protect the tip. Okay, it is charged to 89%. This uses e-ink, electrophoretic ink, which was pioneered by Josef Jakobsen, professor at MIT in the mid-90s. And he, along with a couple of students, Barrett Comiskey and J.D. Albert, founded the E-Ink Corporation in 1997. And so they discovered and pioneered what they called electrophoretic ink, which is a micro-encapsulated tiny pigment particle suspended in clear fluid. And they found that when you apply an electric field through it, it moved the charged particles to top or bottom, creating images. It was reflective and used ambient light initially, required no additional power to maintain the static image. So the advantages there are low use of batteries and power, very high resolution, and very wide viewing angles, so ideal for reading. But the very first commercial readers were produced by Sony, with the Sony Libri in 2004, but because of digital rights management issues, all the books expired after 30 days, so it was just a proof of concept device. Their next item, the Sony PRS 500, came out in 2006. I remember playing with it at BJ's warehouse. There were problems with it, kind of clunky, but it was the first real viable model. It was only the next year, 2007, that Jeff Bezos, the Kindle, which was initially offered with a Sprint cellular-derived WhisperNet cellular connectivity, offered it for life. It became quickly a runaway success. Soon, Barnes & Noble also came out with their Nook, and Rakuten in Japan came out with their Kobo readers a few years later. Now, the Onyx Boox is a company based out of Beijing, founded by Yan Lu, Beijing Onyx Technology Company Limited. Now was offered in color ink. Jakobsen, Comiskey, and Albert's E-Ink Corporation came out with the color ink technology. They called it Kaleido, and then Kaleido 2. This is the second iteration, the Kaleido 2. It's kind of a dusky, let me look up, pull up Spider-Man as I let the cat out. There is the Amazing Spider-Man. As you can see, the dusky coloration of it. Yeah, it's color, but not dusky. But it's doable, it's doable. So this, the Nova Air C Kaleido 2, is a 7.8 inch e-ink, 300 dpi at 1872 1404. Black and white, and 936702, which is 150 ppi for color. And it uses the same EMR, Wacom EMR technology. As you can see, it'll draw right onto that thing. We call it the EMR. And no charging required, and it hooks like that magnetically. Stylus. As it uses an inductive kind of process. That is the Boox Nova Air C. I think I paid a pretty penny for this, maybe close to 500 bucks. One of the problems with it is that it is 3 gigs of RAM, storage is 32 gigabytes. It is not at all expandable. So 32 gigs is all you get. So it does hook via USB-C, and it will allow you to charge. Thinness is outstanding. The weight is outstanding. Nova Air C. Comes with a 2000 milliamp hour battery. If you turn the Wi-Fi off, put it on airplane mode basically, it'll last days and days and days. It's all aluminum with the front glass. It does play Kindle. Let's look at what's in my library here. See, just all kinds of books here for free. And that's the advantage over Kindle. Being free is big. You see the ghosting on here. So how do you change the fonts? You do that. There's the e-ink center. You can change the color. High contrast off right now. Optimize. DPI setting at 400. So you see all that ghosting. You see all that ghosting on here. So you have to, boom, refresh like that, and the ghosting disappears. Here's the font. It's a bit small. It's a bit big right now. Let's go to Helvetica. So on the Kindle, you have to click the font to reduce the size of it. As you can see, you can increase the lighting so that it is very, very bright, or you can just have it on auto like that. The fourth turning, Strauss and Howe. As you can see here, these are EPUB books. It allows you to much more easily control the font sizing. There you see, you can make it absolutely minuscule and absolutely enormous like that. So that's a good sizing. Very clear. Battery life of 2000 at this screen size. Depending on your light settings, here's your light settings. By a simple swipe here, you can make it darker while being warmer, and it will give you even more battery life. First turn on of this item. This has a fingerprint sensor, supposedly. Let me try powering it on. 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds. There was some talk about how this thing doesn't, the magnetic is like sub-optimized, so that it's like at the bottom here, whereas the most powerful magnet is right here. Of course, it's not that important to English. Let's change the time zone to Eastern. Up, down gestures, volume, right side, brightness, up, down. Let us first upgrade the firmware. I shall add my network. And then this part I shall keep secret. We are now connected. Okay, got my verification code. Attach to my computer. Method to download, upload books from my. So I've asked DeepSeek what's the best method to download books into it. There are many ways you could do it. I could do it by email, send to book, I could download it by the cloud. I could, of course, do USB-C, download into a downloads folder, documents folder, DCM to download documents. There's books. So which one? So the USB-C direct transfer is the best way. System update, download. And the download speeds on my Nova Air C were quite slow. Let's see what kind of improvement we can see here. are now downloading the system update. I know that takes a while for it to update after I download it, but we're almost complete, 14.6 megs per second. I shall update it now to November 7, 2025, so just a couple of days ago. The updating will take a few seconds. The time is 11:56. We'll see how long it takes. So this Onyx Boox Note Air5C is a 10.3-inch e-ink Carta 1200 with Kaleido 3 from MIT's e-ink Corporation. Resolution black and white is 2480 by 1860, which is 300 ppi. Color resolution is 1240 by 930, which is 150 ppi. This Android 15, it is octa-core Qualcomm chip, generation beyond the one that was on Nova Air C. The Nova Air C I bought 3 years ago, 2022. The battery is 3700 milliamp hours, approximately double. We'll go back to the most recent specs here. RAM is 6 gigabytes. Storage, besides the 64 gigs, it allows a micro USB access. There's a red light right there as well. Nova Air C, I could just click and drag. Okay, powering off, rebooting, it appears, blinking and reboot. Do I push it again or do I just wait? I'll just try waiting a few more seconds. The time is 12:04 p.m. It took about 6 minutes to upgrade the firmware, to download and upgrade the firmware. It's a decent amount of time. Probably fully charged by now. Okay, here we are. Note Air5C. There's no space between the Air5. C for color. It would appear we are now, let's look at settings. Let's look at warmth color. I like warm colors. There, that warmed it up nicely. 24 and 20 is my current settings. E-ink wise, let me do a fast refresh. Speed, let me keep it at vivid. High contrast is on currently. We're at 98% charge. Let me go to storage then, which is, it says under 45 gigs available. So let me go ahead and 28, yeah, might as well just use the 400 card, why not? It pops it out, thanks to my Swiss Army knife. And the pin is at the top, and the seating of the SD card. Yeah, so that inserting of that card is fucking fiddly as fucking hell. But now it is inserted at last. Let's look at storage. Manage. Okay, here it is. 306 gigs of 394 available. Let's see how quickly this thing uploads. Pre-chosen some books I'm going to try to upload onto here. Copy. Firstly, I'm going to select all. So all the PDFs I'm going to deselect. I'm going to put PDFs into documents file and just put all pure ebooks into the books file. Okay, paste. Let's see how fast. Or it could just be a error file. Moving the books one at a time may not be problematic, but taking a good long time. I have the entire National Geographics. So it's going to take a good long time to copy that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out from this filming and then get back to it when the copying is complete. So I've downloaded a whole bunch of books. I have optimized what I can optimize at this brightness 20 and 24. But up on this corner, I had to offload the copying of this large 40 gigabyte entire, or the complete National Geographic using a USB card reader onto here, because otherwise it would not take it. And this thing is fiddly as hell. Fits onto here upside down. It's really stupid. Doesn't click in easily. Kind of coerce it in. Now it's in. Now when I go to storage, click manage, it shows I've used 17%. And then on this documents, I've got some PDFs right there. So let's see how quickly PDFs are. Here's a graphic novel. Appears 2021. No, I don't want to run it. Part 1, is it upside down? Okay, there it is. It's color. It's viewable. So that's good. Look at National Geographics. Okay, so let's go to storage. Okay, so if I go to storage, it's not clear cut. If I go to here, and then there's my storage. Let's look at books. National Geographic, there we are. Let's look at the latest 1990s. I forget how much this 98.99. Okay, look at 1999. There we have it. Full color. So it's pretty good. The pics are viewable. Try to increase the light like that. Dial it down to about 28 and 28. Pretty good actually for, as you can see, very usable, very usable. So this is, there's some weirdness. I see a little bit of ghosting there. But generally, it's very usable, actually. Let's get to the library. Let's go to storage. Let's go to books. Let's see, what other books do I have? This is what I'm currently reading now. I'm reading this Money GPT. Pretty damn good. Pretty snappy. Okay, let's adjust the font. It's way too big. Let's get the font down to the smallest. There it is. Yeah, there's a more granular. 26, 21, 23. So 23 is good. 23 is good for me, for my eyes. And 26 and 25, 28, it looks pretty good for me. Let's try turning. So that's with light off, light on. And there we have it. There's a bookmark. Takes it. Oh yeah, here's the night mode. Okay, you tap the center of the screen. Find the AI audio icon. It looks like a speaker. Text to speech. It is TTS.
Productive power is already, and will continue to be, a major, perhaps the major, stake in the worldwide competition for power.
Let's try. There's a speed thing. Let's make it a little bit faster.
Conceivable that nation states will one day fight for control of information. Just as they battled in the past for control over territory, a new field is opened for industrial and commercial strategies on the one hand, and political and military strategies on the other.
Now, would it read National Geographic articles? Let's see. Oh, it does not support TTS. So it only specifically supports it in books, I assume. It will support it. So now let's try TTS.
The coral, sing, zero goddess, the ruinous wrath of Achilles, son of Peleus, the terrible curse that brought unnumbered woes upon the Achaeans and hurled to Hades so many heroic souls.
So that is that. Let's look at the browser. Okay, so I've signed in, and here is YouTube. Yeah, so it's not going to be usable with this. Now it does Brave, isn't it? Let's try it. Installing now. Set Brave as default. This time on Brave. Make it always desktop. Yes, desktop. Block origin. Now let's try it. Seems to work. Let's try active self-protection. Let's see.
When it's time to resist an armed robber,
It works perfectly. Let's try some music. Music works, browser works, screensaver. I shall put a clock on it. Screensavers goes to that time and date, and then when I put my finger on it, it goes to that. Oh yeah, I put the test notes, haven't I? Enable. Let's try the note-taking app. Nib, I like the fountain pen. Okay, let's... Decent fountain pen-ish. Okay, so if I go here, I know I can delete it from this page. There it is, delete. Kind of cumbersome. There should be a way to delete it from the page directly. Maybe that adds a safety step. I'm going to wallpaper. I'm going to choose a different wallpaper. Ideally should be... There's a whole bunch of options here from the cloud. Perhaps just 3 options. There's a blank. Okay, so for wallpaper, because the lettering is in white here, let's have this one be some ad issues. There's definitely some ad issues. It's doable. It's actually quite usable. Quite usable indeed. Air5C. Download dictionary. Let's see, what's the best dictionary? Now it was under ebooks and under dictionary. Might as well just put in both dictionaries, the Webster Unabridged and the Wiktionary. To conclude, Note Air5C, the Nova Air C from 3 years ago. I couldn't locate my Kindle Oasis, sure where it is, but here is Kindle Voyage from 2014. Just a black and white screen, power button in the back. Swipe to unlock. That's one of the issues with the Kindle. It's a closed ecosystem, totally controlled by Amazon. They're not happy with you bringing in outside EPUBs. I guess for most people, pirated EPUB books, or not pirated, but freely obtained EPUB books, is a major feature of ebook reading. So when they shut that down, it's a major detriment. Of course, they haven't found a great way to shut it down completely, but Amazon tries its best to do so, because if you look at the price of Kindle ebooks nowadays, I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean, let's go into the store just to see what a typical ebook is right now. Let's look at nonfiction. Let's turn up the brightness. Okay, auto brightness is on. What, 15-year ebook, so the battery is starting to die out. So the point of these ebooks by Kindle are to peddle, to show and sell books from their Amazon store. Amazon, as you recall, started off as a bookseller and branched off from there. Let's see, what are recent, there it is, $18.99 for that book right there. $18.99 plus tax. $20 for an ebook. So Amazon makes a fortune. Fortunately, most of EPUBs, especially the classic literature, are available for free. Now you can go to the Amazon store and buy like copies of them for like $1 or $2, but there's no reason to do that because you can sideload by plugging into your computer. Now the interesting thing, you can swipe to turn, but you can also click this weird haptic that gives you this small internal rattle of the book whenever you hit the You can change the fonts on this by hitting that letter. You can change it the smallest, layout, orientation, margins. You want to minimize margins probably. The only advantage of maximizing margins would be if there were no border for you to hold on to, but let's put it in airplane mode. That way it saves battery. Device options, time, device info, storage and management. This is a minuscule 4 gigabytes, of which like a gigabyte is used for the system. So very little left. Reading options, you got refresh, night light. Yeah, so this edition, the Voyage, comes with a front light option, so you can read it in the dark. I think the original Kindles were about this size, 6 inches, but it had no front light. I mean, I guess basically you can turn off auto and then go all the way down to 0. And so that's roughly what it used to look like. Actually, there's a little bit of a light there still. Not sure if you can turn the lights completely off. But the one thing that the Voyage doesn't have that the Oasis has, it doesn't have the warm lighting, the yellowish tinge lighting. But as you can see, at this edition, 2014, here it is. So out of this case, this is a very nicely sleek, just a little bit of Amazon branding there. See on that light? Swipe to unlock. Very nice, almost pocketable little book. Can be held like this. When you turn it to airplane mode, let's say on a flight, this thing will last you weeks of battery life, at least when the battery was new. It's the size of a little, one of those Dell supermarket dime store novels. It approximates that size. I think that was about the size model that they used initially. And hence the 6-inch screen tells you the location number and the percentage complete in reading that you are. There's the power button. Very simple, intuitive. There's the auto light detection areas. There's the haptic feedback. Of course, you can also swipe back and forth. Very decent little reader, as you can see. Anyway, this is the case, the Moco Direct. It translates the power button back there. When you turn, defaults to Amazon ads, book ads mostly. Yeah, so it'll give you little ads like that. On my Oasis, I got it with ads also, but I think there was a trick where you email Amazon and you tell them something and then they'll eliminate the ad and then you can put on your own screensavers. This is the Kindle Voyage 2014. So the other question is, why not use an iPad? Here's an iPad mini Kindle app. And you definitely can use the Kindle, which I've done. You can use your phone, your iPhone as your reader as well. Or I mean, Samsung Galaxy, you can use any of your... So the disadvantage of this battery life, because of the Retina screen, bright LCD screen, now you can turn the brightness way down, which is what you should do at night. But in sunlight, you gotta crank it way up to be able to visualize it. It's one of the problems with it. Other thing about this, so it'll fight you all the way unless you've bought the book before. Like here's a book that I've actually bought. But look at the glare on it. Quite a bit of glare. You can turn down, go to night light and make it a little bit easier in your eyes. And it's very readable. You can use your iPad. So the main issues are battery life. The resolution is, I mean, just as good, of course. The lighting is adjustable. There's a distraction factor because it's so much easier to browse the internet on an iPad that you'll find yourself mainly doing that. For watching YouTube or whatever, it's hard to beat an iPad, and it'll increase your eye strain if you do read on it. Now, if you buy GoodNotes, I mean, not that you have to buy anything, you could just use a standard note app, and then if you've got one of these, try a fountain pen, okay. So it's less pleasant. Now, I do have a matte writing film on the screen to render it a little bit more pleasant to write on, but without it, it's just a plastic on glass feel. Magnetically will charge the pen when you stick it on here. It tells you the charge. I mean, it's usable. My kids, when they were in college, used the iPad in classes for note-taking and whatever. And I think that's the standard way for college kids now. So this also comes with that Finty-like thing, and it works much better. Of course, a camera. Of course, the modern Boox also have cameras, like the Tab XC has a camera on it. So when you compare it to new Boox Air5C, color like the iPad, kind of duskier color. It's got the browser. It's got note writing ability. It's got the ability to surf the internet. You can even watch YouTube on it. It's slower than the iPad, but it's playable. Again, it's starting to reintroduce distraction issues that iPad brings you when you have such a versatile item. The thinness of it, the weight of it, Onboard storage. Is there a limit to the micro SD card size that I can add for my Boox Air5C? It says officially per Onyx, it supports up to 512 gigabytes. However, many users have successfully used 1 terabyte cards as long as they're formatted exFAT. That's the AI answer to that question. So unless you do something crazy like what I did, the entire complete collection of National Geographics, you're not going to run into problems too much on that. E-readers, what are some other issues to talk about? Non-proprietary versus proprietary here. And Kindle, maybe less so in the iPad. Some limitations in terms of cracking down on piracy, which you don't have to worry about on the Boox. Sideload to your heart's content, no interference. Very comfortable to the eye. Look to the screen. If you turn off the Wi-Fi, very significant battery life that will last for weeks. It's got I think maybe for new users, kind of a dizzying array of adjustability to it. Just multiple, numerous ways you can tweak settings, discombobulating to people new to this item. In terms of resolution, black and white 300 ppi, and then color 150 ppi. You have to remember the 4K screen, an IPS 4K screen is about 138 ppi. So this is a superior resolution to a 4K, like a 32-inch 4K screen. To the human eye, it's more than adequate resolution. Maybe the limit of what a human can detect. Not much lag, which is one of the issues on the earlier, maybe 10 years ago, Boox-like or reader devices. You can see some of the issues on the Kindle Voyage, the lag in input. But that has almost or virtually disappeared on the new issues. The ghosting that I saw in the Boox Nov14 from 3 years ago, probably 90% gone now in this new Air5C. To people who like to read a lot, who will spend hours reading, I would say it's almost still a necessity to buy one of these things. If you compare this to carrying around just reams of thick, heavy paper books, all that makes no sense nowadays, except for that retro aesthetic that some people favor. I noticed that Zoomers like reading paper books now for its retro appeal. Yeah, I think for college students, people who attend lectures and classes and like to take notes, this is unmatched compared to paper notebooks. And paper notebooks allow you to use fountain pens, and there's great appeal to that still. When you can cloud sync your documents, and when the note-taking ability so closely mirrors paper writing field now with this device, it's hard to compete with this. I think for most people, I would recommend at least trying it. Whether you're into comic books, especially color comic books, manga, hours and hours of reading dense text, whether it's textbooks, otherwise, I think this is the way to go in the modern world of reading.